He's talking on a political compass memes. Yeah, that would make sense. I guess I don't see that because I'm American and not too much into national, let alone international politics. Oh, you're not into politics, you say? Not much into national or international politics? It's just weird for most of us who don't really care either way. You don't even care about politics? Yet we're to believe that the reason Tyler Robinson decided to up and leave the house and go take a life, a human life, was over politics? Over hate? Over this issue that you don't seem to even care about, really? I have no opinions of Italians, and then I go on the internet and get immediately stereotyped, which I'm sure happens to you also. It's one of those situations where I could care less for America until I feel accused of something for being an American citizen, and then my first reaction is defense for my country. I can almost hear in the background, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I mean, again, I don't show any of this to say, what a human, what a guy, what a pal, what a chum. Lance is not living a life I would want to live. But I also don't see evidence that he's living a life that we're told. And this is the constant problem with this case. We're told one thing, and then when you dig into it, it doesn't materialize. We're told the parents were going to rat on their son, that they'd confessed to them, and that's why they turned him in. Push comes to shove, we don't get shown that. We're told there's insurmountable evidence that Tyler Robinson was on the roof with a gun. We're shown grainy Bigfoot footage that people in the courtroom compared to a blob. We're shown a gun that the detective, who is like his whole job is to look at guns. And he's like, it looks like a pole. I mean, it could be a gun. It's kind of gun-like, straight. It doesn't look like it's not a gun. Thank you, Detective Bagley. Sharp work there, partner. We're told there's just solid DNA. DNA's all over the gun. And the lady gets in there like, it's pretty degraded, actually. So that's some of the oldest DNA on the gun. Oh, and by the way, the gun had dust all in the barrel. Oh, and by the way, there's 4 other people's DNA on there, and theirs are not as degraded. Huh? Wait, what? This is totally inconsistent with what we were told. Oh, you're going to see HD footage of him all over campus. We literally have blurred faces. And the only pictures we have that you can even kind of see a face, Kash Patel told us they were enhanced. The enhanced photos and the video. Well, the photos that they released that he said were enhanced, even in their enhanced state, Lance Twiggs gets up there and says, I can't 100% identify him. He's wearing the same jeans, I guess. I know he owns shoes. He likes hats. That guy's wearing a hat. I've never seen that hat. But he loves hats. He's a big hat guy, big into hats. And he has an affinity for sunglasses. My sensitive eyes, I guess. That guy had sunglasses. We're told he returned to the scene shortly before 1 o'clock. So we're shown a Dodge Challenger returning to the scene shortly before 1 o'clock. Pretty compelling. Until you hear from the homeowner that it was driven by a bald man with 3 passengers. Oh, okay. Nothing we're told is true. Nothing we're told happened. We just continually go through this over and over and over. It's nonsensical at this point. And there's really no way to square this circle. If every single thing we're told about this case falls apart under the slightest bit of scrutiny, if every single emotional pull looks manufactured, that young man, I forgive him. As she's reading the confession, the forgiveness. And then she said, well, I didn't even know I was going to say that. I just spontaneously came to me. No, you gave like a Daily Freddo. Cassia did a great job on this. She read like 5 lines. It was like 5 sentences long that she was looking down and reading word for word. I mean, that was not spontaneous. Because if he didn't live, none of this happens. There's no case. There's no trial. We're not sitting here investigating it 10 plus months later. We're not examining his social media posts, Lance Twiggs. We're not looking at the timeline of when Charlie Kirk made it to Draper for the funeral home, and what time could Erica possibly have gotten there in order to get back to the Air Force Two at the time she allegedly rolled in? How long could she have possibly been in that room? And you got to load up the casket and you got to unload the casket. And whose suit was he wearing? Why is there lint all over it? Why is it dirty? Why is he wearing a dirty suit? Whose suit was that? And why hadn't it been to the cleaners? No offense to those of you who wear dirty suits, but I mean, it's obvious it's not a brand new suit. It's not a brand new tie. That tie has not been manufactured in the last 20 years. That's a tie you see on people in pictures in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s. There's nothing wrong with it. It's probably a nice silk tie. Probably ties a nice knot. But it's not new. It's not something that Charlie would wear. He never wore a tie like that. And so what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? Like you could get to this point of the case and you could look left and you could look right and say, well, why does everything fall apart? Why did they pave over the crime scene? Why is the FBI telling people to pave over the crime scene? Why is the governor of Utah telling people to pave over the crime scene? I'm not going to play it because it's 5 minutes long and I don't want to sit here and watch a 5-minute clip of another podcast. But the PBD podcast, I went back and watched it. 5 days after Charlie Kirk went down. I think this was like September 15th or 16th. They're all sitting around. The whole cast. And you know that if you watch it, there's 3 or 4 people on there. I don't watch it, but I see a lot of clips. For some reason, my timeline gets infested with them, and sometimes they're compelling, and I watch them. But there's like 3, 4 guys sitting around. And they all had different complaints. They all agreed, that's not a 30-06. If that's not an exit wound, that's not a 30-06. And even if it's an exit wound, it's probably not a 30-06. Because we know what a 30-06 does. Everyone knows what a 30-06 does. Even our friend from one of I can't think of the name of his channel right now for some reason. Gary, what's his channel? I can't think of the channel, but our friend oh gosh, I'm blanking. Oh, Paramount. Like he made his whole channel for the first month after the thing. I mean, he was getting hundreds of thousands of views, I think got 1 million+ views on some of his videos. Basically telling everybody there's no way this was a 30-06. We got to figure out what's going on here. And he might have thought body armor. He might have thought deflection. Like he said, this is not a direct shot to the neck because that's totally inconsistent. Well, now he's changed his mind. Oh, Martin Luther King. Yeah, because stop it. 30-06s don't stop in 4 inches of neck. They just don't. And at the beginning, we all universally agreed with this. Everyone universally agreed with it. But it wasn't just that they were asking questions about. They were asking questions about all, it had to be after the 15th that they had this. Maybe it was the 15th or the 16th that this podcast was, because then they sat around saying, why did they pave over the crime scene? And the guy was getting really angry, and he's like, you don't pave over the crime scene. And he mentioned other high-profile crime scenes, and he said these crime scenes were preserved for weeks. You couldn't walk anywhere near them because they didn't know if they were going to go back and need more evidence as the investigation developed, so they just preserved it. They put caution tape around it and posted an officer there and said, no one walks there. Yes, sir. I got it. And they paid someone to stand there and make sure nobody walked on the crime scene. And my point, when I was going to play it, but I don't want to sit here and play it. It's late, and I don't want to play a 5-minute clip of someone else's podcast. But my point was going to be, and my point is, that we all universally accepted very early on that everything about this case sucked as we knew it. Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, it still sucks. Nobody called me and offered me anything. Maybe other people got a call and they were offered something or threatened. I was not. So I'm continuing to investigate. I'm continuing to look into it. Because as I look into it, I say, this doesn't make sense. I mean, why do a photo op in Draper? This would have been a totally different case if he took his own if he took his own life. If he died before turning himself in. Totally different case. Then you can put Erica in there, and if she's a total weirdo, no one really notices because we're not investigating a murder. I mean, it's pretty obvious the murder's open and shut. We might look and go, ugh, she's kind of weird. But that's it. No one would think she had anything to do with it. May not have anything to do with it. But, I mean, people are asking the question because, Why the hell are you acting so weird? We wouldn't have Blake Sneff crashing out on X Spaces at 2 a.m. We wouldn't have Andrew Colvette crashing out on X like 9 times a day, attacking people. And somebody makes 9 points and he'll just write, this is false. All 9 points? Which point is false? Is the name of the person true? Like if you say this is false to somebody, is my name true? What's part's false? We would get answers. I had a conversation today with someone actually, who, I was telling them, I said, I feel like if TPSA paid me a bundle of money, I could get them back on track, but they'd have to commit to the truth. But I would answer every question. I'd say, you know what? It's gone on long enough. We're going to put this to bed. What do you want to know? I would start hosting people for 2-hour interviews, and I would say, send me your questions ahead of time so I can dig up the materials you need. You want to know where I was on September 8th, 9th, and 10th? Here's my calendar. This is my story. I stick to it. Here's where I was. Here's every move I made. What else do you want to know? Oh, where was I on this date? Here's the flight I took. Here's the manifest. Here's the itinerary. Here's the email where they sent me the confirmation. What else can I answer for you? We're not getting that. Instead, we're getting obfuscation. We're getting confusion. We're getting anger. We're getting lashing out. They're now hiring people to go around and offer 6-figure paydays for somebody to show up and debate for 2 hours. What a silly, preposterous notion. You know what a sellout you would look like if you took money to go debate someone? You know why they're recommending that? Because it worked for them. That's my guess. I can't say that for sure. I've not seen the checkbooks. But anybody who thinks that Candace or Barron or anybody else can be bought to go debate probably believes that because they know they were bought. That's just my guess. That's my guess. Throw money at them. They won't be able to resist it. How do you know? Well, I couldn't resist it. I wasn't able to resist it. Well, I can resist it. I can resist it. Because I can't be bought. I can't be bought. I wouldn't take a flight from these people to go debate. And there's nothing to debate. I had a different conversation today with someone else. Said, hey, well, you want to do a podcast with so-and-so and just an honest sit-down conversation? I said, well, I'll tell you what. I might do that. Why don't you set up a call and we'll have an off-the-record discussion and see if there's anything even to talk about. Because if all they're going to do is say, well, the prosecution showed X, Y, and Z, and all I'm going to say is everything I've already said on my podcast to what the prosecution showed, what is there to talk about? But if they have something interesting and engaging, I highly respect this person. I think this person's a good faith, honest actor, very well respected, been on TV for 10, 15 years, high-profile cases. I'll be happy to sit down and talk with someone like that. This guy's rational, level-headed, but I want to make sure there's something to talk about. If there's nothing to talk about, I'm not doing it. So we'll have a phone call and we'll figure it out. I'm more than happy to engage that way. But innocent people don't hire people to go call other people evil. They don't do that. If you're innocent, you don't engage in that behavior. That's not right. That's not normal. I've never hired anybody to go call my enemies evil. And I bet you I could pay someone, I'll give you $200 a day to just sit around and tweet all day about these 3 people. Okay.